Good afternoon, collectors. How are you this afternoon? We are coming to you from a different place in our company today. As you can tell, I don't have the village behind me. Where we are broadcasting from today is our village. It's called the Village Workroom. And you can see just a little bit behind me, we've got bins that have all kinds of things in it. This one happens to have some leftover pieces of accessory. We've got trees. Over there, off-site, you can't see it, but we've got stacks of styrofoam. We've got bins that say glitter. We've got artificial snow. There's a whole basket of just ribbons and things like this. And this is all, these are all little items that our artists come in, and when they're building a model, a paper model, they will, you know, it's pretty hard to do a dimensional wreath out of paper, so they come in and use an actual wreath. So this is where they store all of those things, and it's a treasure trove for them. And every once in a while they're looking for something that isn't in here, and they'll come in and say, do you have such and such, like little lanterns that maybe are on a building. They'll come in and they'll ask for things like that so that they can get a better representation of these paper models that they're building. So that's what that's where we are today. And the reason, as you can all guess, why we're not in the showroom is because our showroom has all been redone. Stefan Pepin, who is our village display artist, has been here, and he has put in all the new pieces, and I'm not going to show them to you. So here we go. I'm wearing purple today, and I wanted to just shout out to anyone who has a family member that is living with pancreatic cancer. Today is Wear Purple for Pancreatic Cancer Day, so that's why I have purple on. It's not for the Vikings today. Sorry about that. We can do double duty though. But anyone who out there is aware of this horrid disease that takes a lot of people. I've had some friends and some relatives who have been affected by this, so I'm very aware of it, and I'm willing to step up and say, let's wear purple today for that. Thought we'd talk a little bit about your most asked questions. You're always very shy about asking questions during our Facebook Lives, so I kind of went through emails from all year and looked at what kind of questions do I get asked. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk about terminology, because new collectors really get bogged down with, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So we talk about light cords and auxiliary cords, adapters, transformers, jacks. All of these are terms that collectors use, but new collectors get immediately lost. So just a brief introduction to a few things like that. Here's a regular single light cord. It's just, no, this isn't a single light cord. This is an auxiliary light cord. Here's the single light cord right here. I thought I had a black one too. Oh, I do. So single light cord out of the packaging, it looks like this. And when you undo it, it's got a fairly long cord, about 6 feet long. Little clip on it here that has an extra fuse in it that goes into the light cord, and you'll see in between the jack here, that's where you would just open that little door, and you'll see the little container where the fuse goes in, and you can change your fuse. It always comes with one. The other part about the light cord that we use, kind of this term, we call this a butterfly clip, and you can see this here. This is the part that squeezes so that you can insert it into your house. And I'm going to show you with this house here. This is an older piece, and the light cord, you squeeze it together, and there are two little indentations on it on either side, and that's what you clip to the ceramic or to the porcelain. Pretty easy. Plug it in, there's a switch, and you can turn it on. Now, I've had a lot of people say, well, you know, I've been putting this in, and I had some trouble. It was an older style light cord clip. They're a little longer now. It's a little harder for this to happen, but if you've ever popped a light in and it goes all the way into the house, here's what you can do. One thing, don't put hand lotion on right before you put your lights in your houses. Wait accomplish this without that slipperiness, put on some plastic gloves. Now you have a better grip. Sounds like an easy hack, but there you go. If you get your light cord stuck in a house, there's the old, using a needle nose plier, and what you can do is you can pull out one half of it, take a piece of wire or a bread tie, then wrap it around there, and then you can back the whole thing out. Don't try to bring it out bulb first. Back it out the same way it came in. That's the easiest way to do it. And if all else fails, take a little pliers or something, snip off one side, then you'll be able to back it out. These are relatively inexpensive, and a lot of people have extras anyway. Just replace it. Another question we get asked about light bulbs is, I put my piece in, and this bulb is a little too long. It's touching the other side of the house, especially in a smaller house. Well, these are all candelabra-based bulbs. You can see that this is the size that all of these bulbs are. And we do make a bulb that's the same voltage. It's 120 volts, and it's a little shorter. And even as much as of an eighth of an inch can make a difference. If the bulb is touching the ceramic, it really isn't going to hurt anything. It might make you a little nervous, but these are fired at 1,000 degrees, so it's not going to cause any kind of electrical problem. But just for peace of mind, get yourself a couple of packages of these shorter ones, and it will solve a lot of those problems. There are some of the houses that are just a little smaller in size, and the interior where you're putting your bulb is a little bit smaller. This will do the trick, and this is why we came out with these probably 25 years ago. And have extra bulbs on hand, because there's nothing worse than having your whole display up, you're expecting company, and your bulbs start going out. That way you can really stay on top of things. And there's nothing worse than having a lighted village and they're all not lit. Now let's talk about the shape of the bulbs. That's another question. Why are they different shapes? And it's for a very good reason. A single light cord like this uses a 120 volt bulb. This happens to be the auxiliary light cord. This is the one that has a little extra pigtail, and this little plastic attachment was the first way we were able to power something extra on a house. So we have an adapter. These are the little block jack adapters. And before we had these in the line, we had pieces that used just this little auxiliary cord. So it added a little extra power so we could have just the start of some kind of animation. And everybody loves animation in their villages. So we have all of our pieces use this candelabra base. And somebody will ask, well, I changed my bulb, but it still doesn't work. Well, even if you have a piece that has an adapter, it's still going to use a candelabra-based bulb. You can see here, all of these bulbs have the same size base. If you have an adapter that is a 3-volt adapter, you're going to use this, I call it a pear-shaped, or it's like the top of a hot air balloon. If the output on your adapter, which is one of the, you got to sometimes use a magnifying glass because it's really tiny print, but every adapter will have printed on it the output. If the output says 3 volts, you use a 3-volt bulb. If it says 3 volts and you put one of these in, it's going to pop. And you're going to think, there's something wrong here. The bulbs aren't good, the adapter's not good. No, it's just the wrong combination. So you've got to use like with like, 3 volt with 3 volt, which is this one. And everything that's a 3-volt bulb now, just to make things a little easier to remember, if you see that shape, these are all the different colors of 3-volt bulbs that we make. Red and green, purple and orange, and the standard white. But they all have that same hot air balloon shape, so that when you see the bulb, even if it's not in the package, even if it's loose, you know it's a 3-volt bulb by its shape. 120-volt bulbs are all shaped the same. They're all the oval. These also come in colors: blue and green, white, and purple and orange. They all come in the same shape. The only ones that are different are the round ones. But these are for your convenience as well. The only other bulbs that I can think of that I don't have out here today, and it's because I was out of stock on them, were the flicker bulbs. And those can go into any socket that uses 120 volts. Those are like a standard light bulb. If your adapter says it's a 12-volt output, you must use a 12-volt bulb. Now, we do have a couple of other colors, and I only grabbed the one. I think they come in red, and I think they also come in purple and orange. If they don't right now, they used to. But these are always pointed. These also are stamped with 12V in red right on the glass. No mistaking. So if you put a 12-volt bulb into a plug that says it only needs 3 volts of power, it's not a good combination. It's going to pop, and you're going to have frustration and some problems. So always remember to look at the output on your adapter to know what bulbs you're going to use. Those are a lot of the questions that people ask us. Another thing that collectors over the years have asked, and let me just move these to the side, is they said, I have seen on Facebook, or I have seen on the secondary market, something called the Heritage Village. Well, I had to do a little looking today to find some packaging that showed Heritage Village. And here is a really old accessory, and it's marked Heritage Village Collection. And here's another accessory. And you can see right down here it says Heritage Village Collection. When we first started in 1976, we did just Snow Village. Snow Village has this glossier finish. It's made of ceramic. It's a little bit larger in scale. When we added Dickens Village in 1984, we made that out of porcelain, a little smaller scale, and it has a matte finish. This accessory is listed as a Heritage Village accessory, so that meant it could go with Dickens Village, but it also worked very nicely with New England Village. Actually, I think it looks like Currier and Ives, but you can see it is a smaller scale and it has the matte finish. So the designation of Heritage Village was given. I always say it's like having 2 books. You have one book that's all Snow Village, and Snow Village Halloween does fit into that. And the other book is Heritage Village Collection, and within that, the different chapters or villages would be Dickens Village, North Pole, Christmas in the City, Alpine Village, New England Village, and Little Town of Bethlehem. So if you see something that's marked Heritage Village and you're wondering, is this appropriate for my village? If you have the matte finish, absolutely. If you have the shinier finish, Heritage Village is a little smaller in scale. Many people use them together. It's whatever your preference would be. But this is quite the old box, and looks like it's quite worn and faded and discolored, and that's the way boxes look after time, don't they? Okay. Another question that we get asked a lot is about, we have a lot of railroad enthusiasts, and next year we are going to a railroaders convention down in Florida. The villagers are kind of excited. I think we'll learn a lot in Jacksonville in June at that convention. But people will write to us and they'll say, I collect trains, I have a train layout, which village should I get? I just do whatever scale. I don't know a whole lot about trains, but I looked a few things up, and this little chart that I found shows the same locomotive in 6 different scales. This one is 20 inches long and is called large scale. and that would have been 20 inches long. The O scale was 12 inches long and goes all the way down to a Z scale. The same piece is 2 inches long. So it's your own preference what style you want to use. A lot of our Snow Village collectors use O scale. A lot of our Heritage Village collectors, or the Dickens Village, North Pole, Christmas in the City, they very often will use the HO scale, which is called half of O. Like I say, I don't know a whole lot about trains, but it has to do with the size of the pieces, and that has to do with the width between the tracks. So if you're a train model railroader, you probably know a lot more than I do about it. But that's a question we often get. You know, what scale should I use? See what else we've got here. Okay, let's see here. Talking about bulbs, I want to mention this right here. This is a sheet that I have been giving out at conventions for years. It's called So You Know Your Village, Do You Know Your Bulbs? And it's a very handy sheet of paper that you can print from our website, and Nate did a blog with a link to it. And if you don't see that, you can go into our website and go under Extras. And it's under, let's see, it's under Extras in the section called Start Collecting, and then it'll say Know Your Bulbs, and you can print it out. It'll look just like this. It will show the main bulbs. It will show a silhouette of what they're shaped like and what the packaging looks like. Even for stores, it's a great tool to hand out. I try to have them whenever I go to a convention, so it's a good handy reference guide if you get stuck. And if all else fails, send us an email and we'll try to answer your question. Okay, a small piece broke off of one of my buildings. It might be, you know, we've got on this particular piece here, we've got some bows out front. We've got, you know, some other little pieces that might, you know, you're a little careless or you're not watching real closely and things break. What kind of glue should I use? Well, there's a million different kinds of glue out there. We never recommend super glue. It's just, you just don't have enough control over it because it's so watery. Super glue gel works better. It's more like toothpaste and you have a little better control over it. Gorilla Glue, I think there's something called something 6000. It's another good glue. We don't recommend hot glue, although it will work in a pinch. Hot glue is really considered a non-permanent glue. So if you've got street lamps, for example, and you've got a styrofoam base or a piece of plywood that you're building your display on, you can use your hot glue gun to put your stop signs and street lights and things like that on your display, and then at the end of the season you can just pop them off, put them back in the box and put them away, and they're not going to fall over in your display, even if the cats lay in there. So we don't recommend we don't recommend hot glue for repairs because hot glue is really thick. And when you're putting two pieces together, you want them to be as close as possible because then you won't see that seam. Hot glue, you will see that gap between the two broken pieces, and then you can tell it's been repaired. So hot glue, just used for temporary fixes, but for permanent, we recommend super glue gel or another one of those fast drying glues. Kiri, our sculptor who you've met, also recommends an epoxy, which is like a two-part process, and it's a little more involved, but she really feels that does a good job for repairing things as well. Okay, one more thing I wanted to talk about was snow. What should I use for my, thank you, Nate. What should I use for my display? Well, we've made lots of different kinds of snow. We probably could snow the entire Arctic with as much real plastic snow as we've sold over the year. This is a product that's been available for probably 25 years. It really does look like, I'm aging myself now, ivory soap flakes. So it's bigger flakes. It has a really good purpose, a really good use in your display. Any kind of this buffalo snow, or this happens to be the crystal blanket of snow. This has a little bit of sparkle to it. And what's neat about something like this is when you take it out, you can fluff it as big as you want, or you can just use parts of it. You can unroll it and make it thinner. This is great for hiding your cords and things like that. When you get things set up, I use white duct tape to tape things down. You put some of this over there. But on the edges, you want to use something like real plastic snow, or you might want to use even fresh fallen snow. And here's a trick with fresh fallen snow. It does tend to follow you around. So good thing to do would be to take your fresh fallen snow, and I've seen a lot of our display artists who are building displays in stores and in showrooms do this. They take a paper bag and they dump their snow into it, and then they pretend I had this can because I couldn't find one today, can of Static Guard. It's a product you can buy to get the static out of your hair, off your clothes. Spray it in there, spray it liberally in there, and it will take some of the static out of the snow, and then it's not going to follow you all over your display. So paper bag, pour the snow in, spray it, and you'll be surprised how much more control you have over using your artificial snow. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is our last Facebook Live before Thanksgiving. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much turkey. Hope you all get your displays put together. I've seen on Facebook a lot of our collectors are already done with their displays. Some are in process. There's no deadline. It's your display. You can build it as fast or as slow and enjoy the process. Next time, I want to do a little segment about your best village hacks. And so I'm going to need your help with this. I want you to send me, like my snow idea, that was a village hack. I want you to send to Miss Littown at department56.com. Send your best village hacks. Pictures, a little description, include your name and phone number so that if I have questions, I can call you and ask you about it. The ones that I use on air and give credit to some of our collector friends, you will be receiving a little gift package from me with some pretty nice items in there. And I'm going to try to use up to 10 of them on my Facebook Live next time. So get your village hacks in. Don't forget about it. I will put something up on Facebook so that you know exactly where to send it. I'll get that up as soon as we're done with this segment. And that Facebook segment will be on December 5th, just in time to finish up those displays before Christmas. And then the last Facebook Live before Christmas will be the 19th, and we'll wish you all a Merry Christmas then. Till then, bye-bye.